Today, we're looking at obsession. Let's set it up. Obsession is a 1 to 4 player tableau building game. In it, you have different events that you use certain staff for and invite guests to raise the prestige of your family in an attempt to win the honor of one of the Fairchild twins. Whichever family has the most points at the end wins the game. Now let's take a look at how it plays. On your turn, you're going to unexhaust some of your staff. Then you're going to double check the round board to see if there's any unusual events for that turn. You then have the option to either play around or pass. If you decide to play, you're going to choose an event from your estate. You're going to assign the correct staff as well as the gentry or cards from your hand and the staff required to take care of them. Then you will get the rewards from that event as well as the gentry that you assign to it. Once you've hosted the event, your workers will be exhausted and your gentry will be discarded. You then get to choose if you want to buy an estate tile from the builder's board. After that, it then goes to the next player. At the end of 16 rounds, the player with the highest amount of points wins the game. Now let's look at some shelf stats. As we can see, the box here is about the same size as a Ticket to Ride box, however it is thicker. As you can see here, when you set up for 2 players, it does take the most of a 3x3 area, so it would work on a card table, but more than 2 players, you'd probably have to get something larger. The time to set up is, it does help that the box has different setup for every family, but every family has a box of that setup materials. You do not need an organizer for this, as the boxes themselves are all part of the game. Now let's talk about the components. This game is very well put together. The basic game has wooden meeples of different shapes and colors. The box itself is very well designed. I did sticker these myself with other stickers off third-party stickers, as well as money that I got separately as well. So those are not part of the game originally. So much thought was put into the design of this box with these components though. All you have to do is, like I said previously, is look online. There's a way to put this together by the designer so that you can pack your game away as quickly and easily as possible. Now, as far as colorblind issues go, I didn't have any. There's a couple tiles, types that look similar, but because of the clear labeling on them, I had no problems playing this. And even with the smaller colors of the staff workers on the tiles themselves, because of the shapes as well as the colors, the chosen, I had no issues telling them apart, even with any of the expansion ones. There is a solo mode for this game, and the solo mode plays exactly like the regular version. The solo player only has scores, and it also has a list of scores for each courtship season so that you can compare your game to the AI as it goes through the seasons. The solo game also comes with multiple versions of the scorecards, and so you can work your way up from easy to advanced, so you always have a challenge to play. As far as rules go, the rules were very easy to understand, had lots of examples, as well as also variations in case you did not like how certain things worked after you had played the game a couple times. The only thing I ran into while teaching the game was having to describe what some of the extra bonus cards did, as well as what some of the rewards meant on some of the gentry. But these were minor, and all of the rules as well as the player aids assisted with this, and we had no issues. Now, the interesting mechanics in this game is the interplay between the staff, the gentry cards, and the events. You need certain levels of prestige to have certain guests go to certain events. Your events have a level of prestige needed as well. So you may be a level 3 prestige family, but you may have earned a gentry visitor that's a level 5. You can't use them on an event because you are not prestigious enough to invite them to it. Each of your events on the estate also take a prestige level. And so you may buy a certain level of prestige because it's available on the board, even though you may not be able to run it yet, so that you have points for that particular type at the end of the game. However, you can't take advantage of it fully because your family isn't good enough yet. The other thing is that once you use an estate tile, an event, it flips over, which changes what that event does, or it may change the rewards that you get. These things, when added together, can be a brain burner at times, especially at the end of the game when you have so many gentry that you're trying to use to get the most out of your estate. This is what makes the game interesting. Combining those, timing, and knowing, do I have the right staff? Do I need to get staff? In addition to the fact that to have all your staff available, you may have to pass. This eliminates basically a whole turn from you. So timing that is critical in your enjoyment of this game. Why would you like this game? Well, if you like Jane Austen, Downton Abbey, this may be right up your alley. This has the classy British feel of raising your estate, and I must win the hand of this fair maiden or this gentleman, and to increase my reputation and make my family more prestigious. The tableau building in this is also very interesting as, like I said, once you use it, it's gonna flip over what your tile does. This may change the amount of points that tile is even worth. So deciding when you want to use those and planning from the limited options in the building market as far as what to buy for this makes for interesting choices. Another interesting thing about this are the courtship phases. On these particular turns, a type of estate tile is revealed, and this type of estate tile is the one that the Fairchild twins have an interest in. Whichever player has the most points in that particular estate tile type wins the hand of the Fairchild twin. These twins have extra powers and are worth more points. However, you only get them until the next courtship phase. At the end of the game, all of these phases are added together to determine who gets the Fairchild person at the end of the game or marries them. This gives you a big bonus at the end of the game if you are able to win this. When you see these courtship phases, you know certain types of estate tiles to aim for, but maybe that doesn't work with your hand, or maybe they're not coming out on the board. Do you sacrifice not getting one of the Fairchild twins for one courtship to maybe increase your estate in a different area? This is one of those choices you have to make. Now, why would you not like this game? Well, it can be long. Even with two players who know the game very well, you tend to start to grind as you get towards the end of the game. And that's just because the amount of options that you have in trying to make everything work. Another con may be the theme. Maybe you don't like this type of theme. If that's the case, it is very woven into this game. You can't do anything without running into it. Overall, Obsession is a great tableau building game that wraps its theme up into the game very nicely. I highly recommend this to anyone who has an interest in it and would recommend this as well as the expansions for it. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe below. My name is Joe, and you've been watching Dice of Wrath.